Welcome and thank you for joining me in today's yoga class. I'm Patrick, and today's class is a restorative yoga class, and we're going to focusing on opening the heart and do some supported back bending. So we need a few yoga props today. I'm sitting on 2 blankets. I have 2 yoga blocks here. I have a bolster, a yoga strap, and an eye pillow. So once you grab all those items, we're going to start actually seated today in Virasana, hero's pose. So I'm going to sit up on a block to come into Virasana. So I'm going to come onto my shins, and then I'm going to take a block and put it right between my ankles on the lowest setting, just like that. Move these props out of the way here. I'm going to put this block between my feet and ankles. Now, once you sit up on this block in Virasana, if you feel like you need more support, you can take a second block under your seat or a folded blanket, and that'll give you like a little more lift to sit up on in order to get started. So once you're comfortable, you're going to take your hands onto your heels and just gently press down. If your heels aren't really there available, you can bring your fingertips to the floor. But watch what I do when I press my fingertips to the floor. I really exaggerate the lift of my chest. So now I'm sitting upright, and then I'm going to roll my upper arm bones back so that my collarbones spread. And then you're going to try to maintain that. So the muscles of your back and shoulder blades have to work, right? So you're really going to lift your chest here and let your legs settle, let your seat settle. And without collapsing your chest now, let's bring our hands to our heart. Thumbs resting on the sternum, elbows soft, chest lifted. Go ahead and close your eyes. Take a few breaths in and out through the nose. When we practice restorative yoga, its intention is to allow the yoga props to fully support our body. And with that support, we're able to peel back the layers, peel back the gripping or the things we're holding on to, and we can start to let go. And when we let go, there's a equanimous feeling, a feeling of peacefulness and stillness and quietness in the body and the mind. And today's class is going to move us in that equanimous direction. Let your head bow towards your heart, acknowledging that you're about to practice today. And then go ahead and relift your head. Let your eyes gently open. From here, let's interlace our palms. Breathe in, take your hands forward, spread your thumbs, and then breathe out, lift your arms up. So if you have any tightness around your shoulders, you can bend your elbows a little to let the skin around your ears and neck relax. Move your arm bones back, and then take your elbows in towards your ears and stretch your palms up to the ceiling. Take a full breath in and a full breath out. Beautiful. Bring your arms forward. Bring your hands back to your heart. Now you're going to switch the interlace, one finger. So you're going to take the opposite pinky in front. Interlace your hands here. Breathe in, same thing, hands forward. And then breathe out, arms over your head. You can bend your elbows to start relaxing the skin around your shoulders and neck. And then wrap those elbows in towards your ears, lifting from your hips to your armpits to your wrists. Chin off your chest, breathe in. And a full breath out. Beautiful. Bring your arms forward. Hands right back to your heart here. Good. So we're just going to do some simple cat and cow now just to warm up the spine before we get into our first restorative pose. So come onto your hands and knees. You can move your blocks over to your side and your other props off your yoga mat. Come onto your hands and knees, spread your palms nice and wide, and we'll just do a few simple rounds of cat and cow. Breathing in, lifting your chest, looking up. Breathing out, rounding your spine, cat pose. Breathing in, opening up your chest, cow pose. Breathing out, rounding your back, cat pose. And then you can move a little side to side, front to back. Breathing in, opening up your chest. Breathing out, rounding your spine. One more. Breathing in, opening up your chest, looking up. And breathing out, rounding your spine, cat pose. Come back to neutral, and then just sit back on your heels and sit up. So the first supported pose we're going to do is just a simple supported fish pose. We're going to use our 2 blocks. So the first block we're going to put on that middle setting. That's going to go across our shoulder blades. And then the second block is going to be for our head. So I'm going to put that second block on the higher setting. And we can adjust these as needed once we start to get into this shape. Okay? So now we're going to turn and sit right in front of those blocks. You're going to start with your knees bent. You're going to take your hands, reach back for that first block. I'm going to use my thumbs to kind of just hold that first block in place. And again, I'm aiming to put that block right in my upper back where my shoulder blades are. So I'm going to guide myself down, aiming for my upper back with that first block. I can adjust it. Yep, and then I feel it right there at the tips of my shoulder blades. And then I'm going to take my hands, reach back for the second block, and just going to put that underneath the back of my head. My chin should tilt slightly towards my chest. And again, my knees are bent here. From here, I'm just going to let my palms rest by my sides, palms face up, allowing my arm bones to drop down below my chest. Let your tongue relax in your mouth, your throat relax. If your low back feels okay, you can extend your legs long. So I'm going to do that now one at a time. Don't take them too wide. Take them about hip distance wide, but then you can let your feet relax out to the sides. If you want to take your arms a little wider, you can take your arms a little wider as long as you keep your palms up. And this is a little bit more of an active, supported back bend. So we're not going to stay in it as long because there might be a lot of sensation, especially if you're stiff in your upper back. So what we're going to do is just focus on our breath in here. So we're going to breathe in through the nose, all the way up through the collarbones. And as we breathe out, relax your abdomen, let your arm bones settle. Let's do that again, breathing in through your nose, up through your chest, collarbones, and breathing out, relaxing your arms, relaxing your face, your eyes, your tongue, your mouth. And you can do that focused breath as many times as you need until you feel that you can just settle and allow the props to kind of mold into your back body so that your front body, mainly your heart, can open and expand. Breathing in and breathing out. We'll stay here for about 5 to 7 breaths. Breathing in and breathing out. And as you breathe out, just let your abdomen settle back towards your back ribs and down and move out to the sides so that your abdomen kind of becomes like a deep, deep lake. Last couple breaths here. We'll start to bring our consciousness back to the surface here, breathing in and breathing out. You can reawaken your fingers and your toes. Let your breaths become deeper. Maybe let your eyes gently reopen. I'm going to come out of this pose by rolling to our right side off the blocks and just resting on our right arm for a moment. So you can bend one of your legs as you do it if they're straight, and then just use your arms to gently lie yourself down and pause for a moment on your side. Take your time. You're going to use your hands now to come back up to sit. Just find a comfortable seat, cross-legged seat, for a moment. Let that pose settle in. Keep your eyes closed. Maybe you feel the impression of the blocks in your back and your heart a little more light and lifted. And then gently let your eyes open. Okay, I'm going to move on to the second pose. I'm going to do Supta Baddha Konasana, or reclined bound angle pose. So we're going to need a bolster, a blanket, and 2 blocks. Okay? So the first setup, I'm going to use my bolster, long ways. I'm going to set it here. I'm going to take one of my blankets just as a pillow. There's a couple ways to fold it. You can simply fold it in half. If you know your chin tilts way back towards your forehead, you can actually do a tri-fold, which I'm going to do. Just gives a little more support for the head. And we'll put that at the top of the bolster for our head. Okay? And then my blocks are going to be here to support my legs as I bring my knees wide, just so that I have that nice support so that I can allow my legs to fully relax. Okay? To get started, we're going to sit right in front of the bolster. You can start with your knees bent. So my hips are, the back of my pelvis is touching the bolster. I'm just going to move my hips a couple inches forward. That's all. I'm going to put my blocks in the low height, right by my knees. And then I'm going to use my hands behind me to guide my way back. Once I get here, I'll use my hands to adjust my pillow for my head. Perfect. It should support the whole back of my neck. And then I'm going to step my feet all the way in and drop my knees wide so the soles of my feet touch. My inner thighs lengthen to my inner knees. And then I can adjust the blocks underneath my knees as needed. Once I get here, once I start to settle in, I'm going to tuck my shoulders so that the tips of my shoulder blades are right under my back ribs. Let my forearms come down, palms face up for Supta Baddha Konasana. Now this shape is much more supported, so we're going to stay in it for a little bit longer. But as we start to settle in, we'll just do some of those focus inhales and exhales to kind of direct the energy and the breathing pattern in the body as we start to relax. So as we breathe in, we're going to breathe in from our outer hips all the way through our side ribs up to our armpits and collarbones. And then as we breathe out, we're going to relax the abdomen, relax the legs. Let the skin of your face quiet and settle. And then we'll do that again. So as we breathe in through the nose, we're going to lengthen from our outer hips, our side ribs, up to our collarbones at the top. And as we breathe out, we relax our arms, our legs, our abdomen. We'll do that guided breath one more time. Start to breathe in through your nose, lengthening from your outer hips, through your side ribs, up through your collarbones. And then breathing out, relaxing your arms, your legs, your belly. And now let your breaths move in and out more naturally. But if you need to come back to that focused breath at any point, you can use that inhale to lengthen and that exhale to release. Maybe as the breaths go by, you feel your bones getting heavier. You can drop deeper into the pose and eat deeper into the sensation of relaxation. Maybe 10 more breaths or so. Last few breaths here. Just allowing your exhalations to deepen and to continue to soothe your body, your breath, and even your mind. You can start to deepen your inhalations and deepen your exhalations. You Reawaken your fingers and your toes. I'm going to use my hands to support my outer legs. Draw my knees together, bringing the soles of my feet back on my mat. From here, I'm just going to roll to my right side off the bolster, resting on my right arm again in this fetal position, and just pausing for a few breaths. To come up, let your head be the last thing. You're going to turn to the floor, use your hands, and slowly roll your way up to sit. Once again, finding a nice, comfortable, cross-legged seat with your eyes closed. And then gently let your eyes open back up. Okay. So we're going to do one last pose, restorative pose, before we move into Shavasana. This pose is a supported bridge pose. We need one blanket, one bolster, and a strap would be perfect. Everything else you can move off your yoga mat. So I have my blanket, my bolster here. I'm going to open up my blanket to the lowest setting, just like this. Put it at the top of my mat. And that's really just to have a little support from my head. Then I'm going to take my bolster long ways in front of that blanket. You probably need about 8 to 12 inches between the blanket and the top edge of the bolster here. That way your upper back and shoulders can relax. We're going to do this nice back bend over the curve of this bolster here. The last thing we need, and I would recommend, is having a strap. So I'm going to put this strap on my ankles just to keep my legs and the channels of my legs nice and straight so that they don't go super wide. Okay? So I have my yoga strap here. I already have a loop in it. So I'm going to make this loop about hip distance wide. Actually a little more narrow, about this length, depending on how tall you are. Could be wider or more narrow. And then I'm going to sit right on the front edge of my blanket, of my bolster here. So before you do this, just watch me get into the pose, and then you can do it at home. Okay? So I have my loop. I'm going to put the loop on my feet, and it's going to go around my outer ankle bones here. Okay? And the buckle can be in the middle so it doesn't pinch the skin of my legs like that. From here, I'm going to use my hands like we've been doing to guide my way backwards. My knees are bent, so I'm just going to guide my way back. Now you can see I'm not in the position here. I have to slide and curve my chest over this back edge of the bolster. So I'm going to grab the sides of the bolster and slide back. And I'm going to feel that bolster in my upper back until the back of my head comes down onto my blanket. My upper back and shoulders are on the floor. And then if I feel comfortable here, I'm going to take my legs long. So the arm position here is in a cactus shape. So I'm going to take my arms, my elbows about shoulder height, my wrists over my elbows. If I need to make them a little wider, I can. And I'm going to relax. Your chin should be tilting towards your chest here. And then once you get into this shape, you're going to breathe in from your outer hips over the curve of your side ribs and chest down to your armpits. And as you breathe out, you're going to empty your abdomen and feel that extension through the soles of your feet. And let's do that again. Breathing in, lengthening over your chest towards your armpits. And as you breathe out, emptying your abdomen, lengthening through the soles of your feet. Your throat should relax. Your tongue should relax. Your eyes relax. Let's do that guided breathing one more time. Breathing in, lengthening through your abdomen, your side ribs, over your chest, towards your collarbones. And as you breathe out, relax your belly, lengthening through the soles of your feet. Relax your tongue, your eyes, even feel the front part of your brain relaxing to the back of your head. We'll be here for another 10 breaths or so. Breathing in, opening the front of your body. Breathing out, settling into that space. About 5 more breaths here. Last 2 breaths here. Go ahead and take a deeper, fuller inhalation and a deeper, fuller exhalation. What we're going to do first is we're going to bend our legs one at a time to step our feet out of the strap. That way your knees are bent and the soles of your feet can be on your mat, straddling that bolster. The next step is to press your heels down, lift your hips, and you're going to take your hands forward towards your feet and just push the bolster out past your buttocks so that your hips can come down flat on your yoga mat. And then you're going to cross your shins one at a time on top of the bolster and let your palms rest by your side, facing the sky or the ceiling. Just take a breath or two here. So basically from the back of your pelvis to the crown of your head should be flat on your yoga mat now. And your ankles and shins are elevated on the bolster. And then whichever shin you have in front crossed on your bolster, we're going to put the other one in front. Just switch that crossing of your legs. And then I'm going to bring my feet flat on the yoga mat again, knees facing the sky or ceiling. Now I'm going to turn my bolster so that it is perpendicular to my yoga mat. And that way I can slide the bolster now right underneath my knees. For final relaxation, I can extend my legs one at a time all the way out. I have a yoga eye pillow. You can even use a sleep mask, but I'm going to use this eye pillow and gently place it to cover my eyes for this nice long shavasana. You can tuck your shoulders under, palms face the sky. Take a nice breath in. And a breath out. Just breathing deeply and softly. Feeling the support of the earth underneath you. This type of deep relaxation is extremely nourishing for your body, your mind, even penetrates a deeper level of your spirit. And with that, there comes a sense of clarity, of sereneness. Just allow your body, your mind, and your breath to embody that quiet, serene, or what we call sattvic in yoga, harmonious feeling. Just a few more breaths here. But if you need to extend your time in Shavasana, continue to stay as long as you absolutely need to. You can start to deepen your inhales and deepen your exhales. Maybe reawakening your fingers and your toes. You can turn your head from side to side. Just bend your elbows one at a time, letting your palms rest on your torso somewhere. And bend your knees one at a time, bringing the soles of the feet to your yoga mat. And you're just going to roll to your right side. If you have an eye pillow on, you can just let it roll off your face. Taking your time, letting your head be the last thing to come up. Use your hands to roll your way up to a comfortable seated position. Just take the time, the next few moments, to let this restorative practice be absorbed. Bring your hands together at your heart. Sealing in your efforts today, let your head bow towards your heart. Go ahead and relift your head. You can let your eyes gently open. Thank you so much for joining me today. Hope you enjoyed this restorative yoga class. See you on the mat again next time.